Their job is to help those injured or hurt. But last week, when 2 Frontenac County paramedics responded to a call, they were the ones being attacked, assaulted, and needing help themselves. What's more troubling is this kind of assault of EMS workers is nothing new, according to Paul Charbonneau, Chief of Frontenac Paramedic Services. He's calling for stronger laws to better protect employees in the line of duty. And Chief Charbonneau joins me on the phone now. Good morning.
Good morning, Wei.
Tell me more about what happened to the 2 paramedics last week.
Well, 2 of our paramedics were assigned a call at one of the parks here in Kingston. When they arrived, they found a patient on the ground. So they started to do what they do every day, and assess the patient and try to determine what actions they needed to take. Very quickly, the call went in a different direction. Some friends of the patient started to get into an argument with the paramedics, and in fact started to get a little shovey, and eventually one of the friends spit in the face of one of the paramedics. Started to push them around. A couple of other friends got involved, and it just turned into a bit of a melee and pushing, and the paramedics ended up on the ground. One of the paramedics ended up on the ground. And then the patients and the friends just took off. Our paramedics.
Yeah, you were actually only a few blocks away when this happened, and you responded to the call for assistance. Any idea what may have provoked this?
No, we have none. In speaking to the paramedics, the calls seem to be going along fine. They work as a team. They work to assess the patient, setting up their equipment, and just suddenly everybody seemed to get agitated, and it just turned. So they weren't able to really determine what caused it.
How common are circumstances like this, attacks and assault?
Well, they're becoming more common, and that's what's beginning to concern me and a lot of the chiefs here in Ontario. It's a matter of paramedics get into this line of work to help people, as you said. We're there when you call 911. And for us to turn around, or any first responders, to turn around and then be assaulted is just unacceptable. There is a certain risk in the job, and we understand that. The risks for firefighters and paramedics is certainly not the risk that you see police officers have. And obviously that's why we arm police officers, because they're the ones who go into the highest risk. But it's just unacceptable that paramedics who are there to help you are suddenly being verbally assaulted, and now it seems to be turning more and more to a lack of respect and a physical assault.
What training do paramedics receive to be able to handle, a combative patient?
Well, the first thing that paramedics are taught is to use their words. They're taught to try and de-escalate the situation, using certain techniques. We did train our paramedics a few years ago in how to protect themselves and how to get out of situations. It's not a routine thing that's done. I think it's probably something that we all need to look at. I've asked the colleges what are they doing. Are they doing any self-defense training in the colleges to better prepare young paramedics coming into the field?
Mm-hmm. How are those paramedics doing anyhow, physically, psychologically, after last week?
Well, physically, as I said, I attended the scene, and they were certainly very shaken up, and they just couldn't believe what was happening. A little bit of dismay and just kind of shaking their head. Physically, they're fine, but psychologically, that's the other part of it. Is you don't expect this to happen. It's something that you hope never really happens to a serious degree. So we're supporting them, and we have a peer support team that reached out to them the next day. They were immediately taken off of the board. We call it they're not doing calls after something like that. They went home for the rest of their shift. So.
The Paramedic Association in Toronto wants the criminal code to be changed so that the punishment for assaulting emergency workers matches the penalties for harming any other public safety officer, such as a police officer. Is that something you would like to see as well?
Absolutely. I think the time has come that we need to better protect our workers. The Ministry of Labor is always moving the yardstick in protection of workers in general in this province, but especially we've seen lately around public service, and public protection workers. So I absolutely agree with that. I don't know if it's a provincial law, and I don't know if it's a federal. I had an opportunity to be at Queen's Park on Monday night at an event. I spoke to a couple of MPPs, including my own, and they're very sympathetic. They said, well, if it is provincial, please let's move forward. So I think the associations, the employer associations, the unions, the paramedic associations, in all first responders, in the police, fire, and paramedics, need to come together and start addressing this.
Chief Charbonneau, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Wayne, thank you for your interest.
All right, bye now.
Bye now.
Paul Charbonneau is the chief of the Frontenac County Paramedic Services. What do you think? Should there be tougher penalties for anyone who assaults a first responder? At CBC Morning Ontario Morning at cbc.ca.